We, we also, there's a part in there that really scares a lot of new net controllers. It says, if there's any emergency traffic, please come now. I've only been licensed for 2.5 years. I've never heard anybody break in with emergency traffic. With this group here, I know some of you have been licensed for many, many years. Has anybody had to break for emergency traffic? One, Norm. Yeah. So you can see, do not let that intimidate you from running the newbie net. One of the other things that tends to, see what I've missed here. One of the other things that tends to scare a lot of people away from being a net controller on the newbie net is keeping the log. So when you start the net, the first thing you do is you're going to ask for check-ins. Everybody here has been on a net, you've checked in. A lot of people are afraid of not being able to copy the name or the call sign. It happens to all of us. We run the Tuesday night nets here in Zach Cohen's Emergency Operations Center. And every time we have somebody check in, can you please repeat? And there's no problem asking for people to repeat their call signs at all. Don't be afraid of missing a call sign. Go ahead and ask for them to repeat. Another thing that happens is you'll get doubles. A lot of people are afraid of doubles, two people talking at the same time. Generally, when a double occurs, you will hear one of the stations. Go ahead and ask that station to repeat their name and call sign, write it down on your log, and then ask the person that doubled to also come. And then they will generally follow after the first person has checked in. So generally, when you start the newbie net, you'll get maybe 4 or 5 people check in. And you're going to think, oh my God, there's only 4 or 5 people that have checked in. How is this thing going to go for an hour? The newbie net generally goes for about an hour. What happens is a lot of people don't check in right at 7 o'clock. So you'll go through the first list. As you're checking people in, you write down their name and their call sign. The next person, you ask for the next check-in, please. The next person checks in. You write down their name and call sign until you get to a point where there's nobody checking in. Then you'll go back to the top of the list, and you're the net controller. So you can ask any question that you like. Generally, what we do is we just ask, what have you been doing this weekend? And you go through each of those first people that checked in. I usually just jot down some notes of what they talk about. And after they're finished giving their minute or two description of what they did, thank them for being on the net and say, sounds like you had a great weekend at your grandkids' house, and just kind of have a little bit of a conversation. And you will hear, as I've been listening to the newbie net, we have some net controllers who are very good at getting a conversation going. But don't feel like you have to have a conversation. It's just an opportunity for people to check in and talk about what they've been doing. So when you get through that list, now you're going to ask for more check-ins. And I have found it's generally the second or third time through the list where I start getting more and more people checking in. And you just repeat this process until you get to the point where there's no more check-ins. And this generally takes a half hour, maybe 45 minutes, depending on how much time you have left to go. You can ask another question and go through the list again. So you are the net controller. It's a newbie net. We're there to help you. It's a great way to improve your radio skills, learn about our community here, and get to know the different people that we have in our community of these Conejo Valley amateur radio operators. Now, when you get to the end of the list, nobody else is checking in. One of the things we recommend that you do is, you've already taken a look at the calendar that's coming up, make an announcement of different events that are coming up, maybe talk about when the next meeting is, just some general information to pass it on. And then you're going to get to the end of the net. There's a paragraph written in the script where you will close out the net. You will thank everyone for signing in, thank the owner of the repeater generally, and then you will close the net. So it's a very simplistic net to do the first time. We have a lot of Elmers on there that if you have any questions, even during the net, if you get confused, feel free to ask the Elmers to help you along. I can't. How's my time? Do you have any idea?
Oh, until the music starts playing, you're good.
Okay. I was going to ask if there's any questions, but I don't want to go too long here. I think it's probably best. Well, go ahead. Yes. Yes. No, I actually brought my log. It's a yellow pad of paper, and I just write down the name and the call sign. Yeah, all by hand, definitely. Yeah. Yes, Bill.
What is the most unusual question?
Mm, off the top of my head, I really can't think of anything. I personally, when I'm running the net, don't like to have a specific question. I just like to ask people what they've been doing for the weekend, whether it's ham related or not. That generally drums up enough interest and a good enough conversation to it. Yes. Well, off the top of my head, I can't really think of anything well, no. Where's Ed? I do remember. I think it was one where you filled in for the newbie net because nobody was there and I came in late. And it was, if you were to describe yourself as a spice, what would it be? You remember that? So, but you're the net controller. Hey, if you want to ask a question like that to keep the conversation going, definitely do it. I have a clipboard with a sheet of paper on it. I don't know where it went, but we'll make sure that we have it available. There we go. Just asking for your name, your email address, your call sign, and it's just an interest sheet. It's not a commitment. If you have an interest in doing the newbie net, put your name down on there. You can put a comment that you're interested or I'd really like to do this. And if you have any questions, I will get in contact with you. We have a lot of people that have stepped up the last 2 or 3 months. And we've got a good group of newbie net controllers, but we're looking for more. And we also want new hams to check in as well. All right, I'm sure I have gone past my time. Yes. Pardon me? That's a good question. I have all the logs, and that's a good question for these people that have been doing net controls longer than me. I still have them on paper. I have not done anything with them. So that'll be a good question for these people that have been doing nets a lot longer than me, what we should be doing with them. All right, that's it, guys. Thank you very much. Stu, I believe, is next. Either way.
Check, check. Oh, we got the sound, so everybody on Zoom will hear for as long as the Zoom meeting lasts. So yeah, that was the newbie net. I know we've had a lot of new hams lately. Is there anyone here in here who's never actually checked in on a net? Excellent. Oh, okay, great. Is there anyone in here who has never been net control? That's pretty good. So when the COVID lockdown started, that was 6 years ago, Zach Cohen and 6PK, a friend of pretty much everyone in here, he got on the radio at 9 that morning on the Bozo repeater and had a net just to see who was there. Then he did it again at noon, and at 3, and at 6, and at 9 p.m. And he did that for about a week and was starting to get pretty exhausted because 40 or 50 people were checking in every single time because we were all stuck in our house and we didn't know what to do. So we had our radio. It was a real island of sanity and safety for us, I think. After, I don't remember how many days, Norm, Stu, and myself and Zach kind of split it up so that each of us ran the net once per day. And it just kind of kept going. We got to the end of June and we thought field day was happening. Everybody was getting back to normal. Most people thought we'll just go ahead and put this thing to bed for now, but Zach didn't want to. He didn't really want to organize it, so he asked if I would. So starting in June 2020, I guess I started running the board net every day. We called it the board net because Norm said we refused to be bored, B-O-R-E-D. Strangely, it is still going on. A couple of weeks ago, we had our 50,000th log entry. We have over 550 different call signs in that log. And that's the number there that really kind of blows me away. That's more than the membership of every club in Ventura County combined. Actually, it's about double that. So it turned out there's a need to just get on the radio every morning. Not every morning, but a lot of people know that it's there. A lot of people will just check in and out because somehow they still have to touch base, even if they're busy. Or they don't want to talk, they just want to listen. That's great. One of the things we say in the script for it every day is that it's there to practice skills. One of those skills is just picking up your radio and hitting push to talk. When you're starting out, at first, that really seems like a really tough thing to do. After a while, as a ham, most of us can't stop it. So, um, one of the real purposes behind it, though, is so that not only do we have a net, it's a chance for everybody to learn what's really going on there. And I'm going to talk a second about what it even means to have a net. Everybody's aware this is simplex radio. It only goes one way. You can have two people in a conversation very easily. If Norm and I are talking to each other in the morning, we'll go, oh, okay, back to you, Norm. He'll say something and go, back to you. But yet a third person, now all of a sudden you have to have some direction going on. Well, one way to do it is if Bob wants to join us, Bob may break in between me and Norm, and then Norm will say something, and Norm may say back over to Keith, and then I may talk and say over to you, Bob. Now we have a net. That's a self-directed net. There's no net controller, but it works. It's just conversation after all. By the time you get more than three, you need somebody kind of in charge of it. So nobody owns that frequency. Nobody's in charge. It's just kind of a handshake agreement among hams that if we're going to have a net controller, that person's going to direct the traffic. You know, stand in the middle of the intersection with white gloves and do this. The nice thing about that is since everybody's agreed to do what the net controller says, the net controller can't make a mistake. That's something that's really important on the newbie net. If you're considering doing the newbie net for the first time, you can't make a mistake. Whatever you do is what the net controller said. It's impossible for you to make a mistake. You still have to give your call sign every 10 minutes. And there's certain things we don't do on the radio. That still applies. But the great thing about being net controller is that whatever you end up doing turned out to be the right thing. So the board net is always there in the morning, and it's another place for people to try being a net controller for the first time. All of us regular net controllers will gladly step aside for somebody to step in. Again, with logging, if you have a pencil and a piece of paper and know how to use them, you're good. I do keep a log permanently for the board net. Zach really liked logs, and when he started out, he kept one, and so we've just kept it going. You don't have to be worried about how to be a part of that. If you take notes on paper, take a cell phone snapshot of it and send it to me. I'll figure out what you wrote, fix the call signs that maybe not right, whatever. If you do know how to do electronic logging, send me an ADIF file. We're good. But the point is, between the newbie net and the board net, every single day in Ventura County, you can get on the radio on a net and either be a net controller or try it out. And after 5 minutes, if you go, oh, I don't like this, Keith, can you take over? You can do that. Because if you're net controller, that became the right thing to do. So, Stu, you ready? You got a screen share? We're going to give Stu half a second in case anyone didn't hear him. Wow, I don't think I don't think I've ever said that before. That's kind of that was an unusual feeling. If you didn't hear Stu, here he comes, folks. The headset.
Here, or I can use the headset, whatever, the headset's live. Give me one sec. Let me get my share up.
All right. Hello. Now I'm gonna try not to yell. This is my whisper. Can you hear me?
What?
Yeah, sure. All right. Hi, everybody. If you don't remember from my earlier ordeal up here, my name is Stu, AG6AG, and I am, hello, Stu. My name is Stu, and I'm an amateur radio operator. I have not had a QSO for at least 2 hours. No. Um, anyway, and if you got that, gee, I'm sorry. Anyway, my job is to talk to people about running MCOM communication nets. MCOM is just what we call our emergency communication stuff. And, you know,
Um, Somehow I'm not getting it.
and unfortunately, sometimes times like this was the Boston bombing during the marathon. Now, usually how an MCOM net, or I'm just going to drop the word MCOM and I'm going to say a emergency communications net from here on to make it clear. Usually when we start an emergency communications net and we have been active sometimes Thousand Oaks is TO City. All of a sudden now you're talking to a location. You're not talking to a person. But at the beginning, it's not going to be like that. You're going to be writing down call signs and everything else. Now, you need to be straight and to the point, which I'm trying to do as quickly as possible here. But seriously, there's not a lot of pleasantries that take place in a Mercy Communications net. Most of the communication that goes on is, what is your condition? What is your location? What do you want to report? Thank you very much. Or, you need this, please stand by. Let me see if I can get an answer for you on that. Okay. Not a lot of pleasant things. And you know what? Nets aren't always official agency nets. Served agencies may not activate us until they really, really need us. So what happens then? Well, chances are we're going to start our own nets to be able to communicate to let other amateur radio operators know what's going on. So your best place to start in an emergency is to jump up onto your local area repeater. You can get those numbers off of those frequencies off of vccomm.org. Your primary job, if you're the net controller, relay information, report needs upstream. In other words, if somebody has a need, you report it to who can help them, and report status and conditions of different locations. Now, skills you're going to require, you're going to need to understand and how to use your radio and configure it on the fly. You're not going to have time to mess around and try to look at the manual and things like that. There's been situations where I've said, hey, I need you to change to Area 2 Simplex Channel 12. Now, show of hands, how many people could just do that right now, right this minute? How many people can't? Okay. So you're fumbling around trying to find the frequency and trying to find the rest of it while everybody's already moved, and now who's going to be able to help you, right? So guys, it's really important. Those frequencies are on a list and numbered for a reason, okay? It makes it much simpler for you to stay in touch with the people that you want to be able to talk to. Along the same lines, you need to know your communications capability in advance of deployment. And deployment may just be you sitting in your shack, in your house, or in your vehicle trying to find out what's going on in your area. You may need to have those answers. Or you may need to run net control out of your car if you're the only one that's there. Okay? And that happens. You know, you don't always have a nice, warm, cushy place to run net control and emergency communications. This or plan for that, guess what? It's a disaster. You don't know what's going to happen. So be ready to change that plan. And practice, of course, makes perfect. So you need to drill regularly. I'm kidding. Hey, you've done MCOM, control. It's fun. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. You know, and it's very rewarding in an actual emergency. So, okay, something has happened. What do we do now? Well, we fire up a net. Okay, just like you're jumping on Bozo every morning when you're driving to work, you're going to come on and you're going to, ID, hopefully there, get more people as people start figuring out something's wrong. Ask you questions, wanting to get are supposed to, how big was that quick ad hoc net? Once you get to in he said 3 is net and who is available. Logs are kept for messages and other communication. So we get a little bit more elaboration. So I remember, all of a sudden, and you're trying to fire for me. I find my I got a driveway, yeah, center stuff now, just finding parking lot. So all sorts of things happen with your issue and advantage happen. And find out where they're slowing down, what's closed, this location. Other amateur radio operators may have that information and they will be more than willing to share it with you. Now, best ways to learn is by practice. Where do I start? You start by joining ARES. If you're not an AS member, come see. I will tell you what I need you to do for me in Area 2 and what really needs to be done in all areas to get started in ARES. It's not a big deal. It's not hard. You would ask me that. Amateur radio is that amazing? That's how to begin control, right? He'll know how to use how to use the radio equipment, and also the procedures that we use, how to be more efficient when you're running the net. Towards your age membership, communications, and that is the race ARL. Then, of course, nets and drills. People, do the bare minimum to see your ACS, and that really an opportunity. Oh, my opinion. Keep checking when you're in it. That's our somebody you can free. That's okay. Oh, doggone it. I passed you up. I had you in the, sorry. You don't have the opportunity to do that in emergency communications. You have to push out there. You're going to have to prioritize traffic based on the 3 traffic priorities that we all work with, which is an emergency traffic. Okay. In other words, normal traffic is just, hey, we need some toilet paper. Okay. Some people might consider that priority or an emergency. Priority traffic is someone that needs to give you information that needs to be relayed immediately. Emergency traffic is someone that needs help. That's a really good example of that. And the other side, of course, to ensure messages get to go accurately. How many played post office elementary school, right? Word, you whisper it in one kid's ear, and the kid says around, it comes to the little kid, oh, gibberish. We're not allowed to duplicate words to do that. You have the things you will say or yes, you really have to know for you're going to be the one that is going to plan on the frequency, the one that's going to say stop talk. Only privacy traffic right. Shorter, sit there and no frequency some have a person that's messing rightly at the wrong time. The other thing is, remember, you really are the coordinator for the net. You're the coordinator for the frequency. You're not the hero. Okay, you're always the good guy. You're the one that has work, and there are times to say we are busy. Okay, and have to wait. NAMCON, believe it or not, I've got no questions. So, right, I do this fascinate. Absolutely. Things happened as far as like over the Thomas fire and things like that. It's be happy. I don't know if I'm fine. Do you have my email? It's Stu at AG66.
Take a lot of phone call out. Our radio stopped everybody. And so one announcement made stops and the race was stopped. probably save the money.
And that's the hope. And that's what we're really there to try to do is, protect and help the public. That's why we do the events. We're not, they don't run over for a thing. We're also the action of force event that helps people that are in trouble of some. That's really bottom line. Anyway, all right, RedMXNet and HFNet, real quick. Shane, what do you need to know? You need to understand, you need to know, be prepared anytime. Okay. You may get something on that can't hear you, come that out, and you're going to have to change frequency. Be prepared to be prepared to accept relays, which is something we don't usually do on repeater networks. Relays are for people who send us about check in. Again, who's in charge of control? Any question, ask the repels. You give that to me phonetically, and then could you give that to me phonetically in NATO phonetics? Little things like that. Cutesy crazy. Okay, always out and try to get you can out of it, right? If you're able to do it. In other words, you get a certain point in the net and you're not hearing anybody, just say, hey, can anybody call for check-ins? Okay, and get someone that's checked in to call for check-ins because they may not be hearing you're calling for check-ins, right? So reach by you already talking to. It's on simplex. Okay, show of hands. He wants me to shut up.
Screenshot it on the radio.
Good. I'll do face recognition. Thank you very much. And let's see, was there something else left behind me?
Portion of the, you want to run it? Speaker, Martin's getting set up here. Here you go. I put this in my pocket.
Are we live? Okay, real quick, let's get through this so we can get to the break and to the drawing. Tonight, just as an aside, for field day, I'm looking for people to take on some of these responsibilities for the bonus point sections. Things like if you're interested in teaching, you can or media publicity, or if, let's say, if you're an educator, or if you have access to something like a youth group or Boy Scout troop, something like that, come see me and I'll sign you up. We get bonus points, 100 points for each one of these sections. And so that really helps with our score. So I'll be setting up the bonus points or doling out the responsibility for the bonus point section. And I need people to take on some of these jobs. Okay. Soda activators. Where's this? Anybody? Good for you. Better. Wow, Charlie, you are on the ball. Very good. Okay. Tonight we're going to talk a little bit about how to be a net controller for this, whatever this is. Right? It's actually the friendly code CW roundtable. This is my favorite thing about ham radios, doing Morse code. This is a friend net. We do it every week. We work to stay below 15 words a minute. We're learners. Those of us on this net are learning Morse code. So we try to keep it below 15 words a minute. Sometimes, some of us get a little carried away. We'll get to that in a minute, though. Every week, Monday, we start a Zoom at 5:45 in the evening. Monday evening, 5:45, we start a Zoom. Everybody's welcome to be on the Zoom. You don't have to do Morse code to be a Zoom. And then we start the net at 6. So 5:45 Zoom, net at 6. And the net is Morse code, and it has a script. And I send the script out to anybody that wants it every Sunday night, Monday morning or so. And we generally follow the script. So even if you know a little bit of Morse code, you can read the script and follow it as go along. So you don't have to be a 20 words a minute copy. You don't have to go copy 20 words a minute. You can just follow us along on the script until you get your speed up. And like I said, we're on Bozo at 6 o'clock. So if you're, you can just listen in. If you're not even anticipating, just turn your radio on and go to Bozo at 6 o'clock Monday and you'll hear us on there. Yeah, like I said, I mail the list. I mail the script every Sunday or every Monday morning. So 5:45 Zoom, 6 o'clock on Bozo. And the nice thing about logging on and following on the Zoom is you can unmute your mic and say, hey, you guys are going too fast, slow down. So sometimes we get a little carried away and the speed starts to creep up. But you can unmute and say, hey, you're going too fast. QRS, meaning, what does that mean? There you go. Slow down. Okay. So it's supposed to be about how you do net control for the friendly code CW roundtable. And here's how you do it. You'll open the net, and anybody can do that. Just let me know if you want to do it. I'll put you on a schedule, and you can be net control for the Morse group net. You'll open up by setting QST, which means, yeah, it's a general announcement for all stations. So you'll send QST, and then you'll send the CW net is open. You introduce yourself, you'll call for check-ins, and after you get a list, you'll get like a pause where you're not getting any more check-ins, and you'll say, okay, we'll go back to the top of the list and solicit a short message from each participant. And then after that, any more check-ins? So if this sounds familiar, it's exactly what we do on the Newbie Net on Sunday night and on the morning board nets every weekday morning, except it's Morse code. So if you know how to run a net, or if you've listened to the net Monday morning, the board net, or Sunday night Newbie Net, then you know how to do this. All you have to do is learn Morse code. Okay, so once we finish on Bozo, we get on Zoom and we have a little powwow. We see what's propagation look like. Maybe we'll have some of the guys over in Camarillo or Ventura, or maybe over in Fillmore send their call sign, and we'll see if we can hear them on 40. We'll usually try to use 40 meters. If not, we might have to use 80 meters, just depending on propagation. But we'll have a little discussion where we want to go. And then we'll do the whole thing over on an HF frequency. That's it. That's how you do the friendly slow code CW roundtable. It's for learners. Like I said, if it's going too fast, speak up. Say, hey, guys, slow down. Can't copy. We'll slow down. And be net controller. It's open. If anybody wants to be a net controller, let me know and I'll put you on the schedule. Okay, questions? Yeah, there's a question in the back. Is that Johnny back there? Hi, Johnny. What's up?
Today's the day
Yeah, you can. Unmic your mute. Unmute your mic. That's good. You can unmute your mic. Yeah. Anybody else? Any questions? Hi. Okay.
I'm CW. Thing that Martin said to me a few months ago, I was prepared to go on CW net. He said, just go on there and send your call sign. It's such a great way to slowly get into not having this freeze of not getting on radio CW. I just want to send my call sign. I still suck at it, but it's really helps. Really, really great.
For those on Zoom who couldn't hear Mike, the comment was, if you're a little nervous, just send your call sign when it's time for check-ins. Send your call sign and we'll acknowledge that. If you don't really feel confident to send a message, you can send QRU or something like you don't have a message. Yeah, there was another question. Another question. Yeah. So yeah, be controller. You can't make a mistake when you're the boss. Okay. That's all I had. This was Mount Whitney from the other side. Normally you see Mount Whitney from Highway 395, but I couldn't get a permit to hike it up from Whitney Portal on that. So I had to get a permit to enter way down at Horseshoe Meadows, Cottonwood Lakes, and hiked up the Pacific Crest Trail. And this is Guitar Lake. It was the last stop. Spent the night there and then did the hike up to the summit. I think Whitney is probably up here somewhere, but fun time. Okay, that's it.
Thank you, Martin. That was an excellent presentation, very encouraging. Seems like something I should even try. And you've been doing this for how long? You've been doing the CW nets? Like years? 4 years. 4 years. Yeah, you're very consistent with that, and I just keep not doing it. But one of these days, I'm going to jump in. So everybody, check it out. Yeah, I'll send my call sign. It's a chance to do that. Thanks for hosting that, and good explanation of what we can do to practice getting CW on there. After that, so we're just gonna go now to the break, and then after the break, we'll go for the raffle.